is the edge that has gotten him this far, but is it enough to take down DFCLOVER? I don't know.
I also think it's very fitting that the two players that didn't lose until the winners finals are back in the grand finals over this entire Take-Two tournament. The two people that didn't lose are back on it.
Yes, pick Rune.
Okay, here we go. All right, DFCLOVER is the one that we're watching. Has the safety net.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So Forestcraft gives me a chance to mention. You said this earlier. Getting damage in when you can. I forget exactly what you said, but Forestcraft basically has to draft aggro in Take-Two. Most of their cards are very, very like low curve oriented, right?
Oh, that wasn't a Chronos pick. I thought he picked the Chronos. Okay, never
His first pick was absolute garbage there. So really, left or right, he could flip a coin and it wouldn't really matter, actually. But this is Wood of Brambles.
Elf Song, Wood of Brambles.
Instantly. That's like the ultimate double pick right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's for sure. But see, a lot of these decks are like really, really like similar in a lot of ways. Like a lot of the neutrals come up in the same way, and that's like the format is like if you think there's too many cards in the format to like tackle it or like get good at it or whatever, there's not actually that many cards you have to get good at learning, right? There's basically factions, but like I said in the beginning, you can just main like a few factions and be fine. So
yeah, from what we've actually seen from all these Take-Two drafts is the card pool is a lot smaller than you would think it is, right? Like you think, okay, access to all these cards or whatever, but when it comes down to it, when you play against a certain class, you can really expect what they're going to be doing or what they have access to. I mean, sometimes you
just
don't
put
account
yourself
for
in their shoes, basically.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't account for double Pollux, you know.
Oh god.
You just got the Israfil and the Guiding Fairy. Guiding Fairy is going to be an interesting one, right? We see almost no Guiding Fairy in rotation, right? We see some of it to the point that it got adjusted, right, for unlimited.
Yep.
How does it function in Take-Two? Where does it stand?
It is a 4-play.33.
Its effect relatively irrelevant, I suppose.
I mean, it can get advantage in the late game, like if you really just want to fill your hand with stuff, but that's not the stuff you're really looking to win the game with. So I can't imagine it's...
You can't really afford to evolve that card in Take-Two usually, especially if you're stuck going first and have Israfil somewhere in your deck. You kind of need those evolves to be much more useful than putting 2 1/1s on the board.
Yeah. And even the enhance effect, I don't see it coming into play that often.
One day.
Look, I mean, it's a puppet card, right? It's a puppet card.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't have the storm or the the Russian stuff to
all the things that make puppets perfect.
Yeah.
Zero cost.
The useful part of puppets is gone, right? The rush, but okay. I get where you're going with
are
it.
useful.
They're the same thing, really.
Yeah, same thing,
Wisps
really.
and puppets are the same thing. Yeah,
she
just
knows.
like
She gets it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Same card.
What's going on? It just devolves into
madness. That's today.
Who is supposed to know? We're supposed to be upstanding citizens of the Shadowverse community, communicating a good, understandable message.
I never made a promise to be upstanding.
Uh-oh.
I don't remember that at all, actually. I didn't sign that.
Yeah, she didn't sign that. I didn't sign that. Maybe you did. All right.
No! These people are now
going to go back. That one.
And they're gonna look at their decks and they're gonna be like, I don't know what to do anymore. Exo keeps saying that Portalcraft is really good at Take-Two, but Envy tells me otherwise. Who do I believe?
I mean, the standings, show you that story, right? Portalcraft has not won very much.
Don't listen to Exo.
Don't listen to me.
We're about to kick off the grand finals here. DFCLOVER is well positioned to take the tournament win, but can TRICKSTER come from behind? That's going to be the big question. Envy, looking forward to hearing your thoughts after the match concludes. Yes. But it is time to find out who the champion of this week's Take-Two Shadowverse Open is going to be.
I've got to say, DFCLOVER has shown all the signs of just like almost non-caring of the Take-Two environment. Just like, yep, in the game, just like in there, win it, like just straightforward. I mean, he has not lost a single match of Take-Two today. Crazy.
I think he's just really probably prepared well for the amount of crafts that he wants to play with, and he's just chosen out of the 3 picks whatever it is that he's prepared for, and he has that strategy in his head. He knows what he's looking for before he even gets there.
I will say that of all the people watching right now, if you guys think that Take-Two is random, it shouldn't be a competitive format, look at a player like DFCLOVER understand that if he wins this game, he will not have lost a single game of Take-Two on the day. It is possible to not only practice for this format, but to excel at it. And in competitive play, what else can you ask for?
Yep. So now we see, starting out with a hand, Elf Song in hand, but I think you would prefer Wood of Brambles in that space right now. It's hard to...
You always prefer Wood of Brambles, but we see Grave Desecration for the first time on the day, the card I've been talking about all day. We finally get to see it in action.
That might make things tough. Constantly having a zombie 2/2, if you can get the shadows for it, does fight out against Wood of Brambles quite well.
Fights out against Forestcraft, I feel like, very well. I mean, you just get free 2/2s. Okay.
It begins.
DFCLOVER has all of the tools that you would need at the beginning of the game as Forestcraft. Will it be good enough?
Now, Dryad is a card that we don't see a lot. I believe its clash effect is reduce the attacking follower's attack by 1.
Yep.
And you can see how effective that is. It's just such an effective trade.
Yep. Basically, drops it down to size, and we see DFCLOVER holding onto these fairies, assuming for a big Elf Song turn.
And pumping up the Dryad, too.
Yeah.
Could get real complicated very fast.
Yeah. I like this, but we look at Trickster's hand. I mean, again, we're seeing a Shadowcraft deck that looks pretty close to a constructed deck. I mean, we see Skull Ring, Ceres, Odile.
I think these turns are going to get really, really confusing. The Ceres is strong, but he had to skip Skull Ring, essentially. It would have been absolutely decimated by the Wood of Brambles, especially because Evolve turn was a turn away. And now you buff up your board.
Yeah, and Elf Song just gets right around the Ceres play. Unfortunately for Trickster, I don't know about using the Ceres before the evolution turns. That seems so sketch. Like, I understand that it can play a big role in fighting against Wood of Brambles in the early turn, but we're going into the Evolve turn.
Oh my gosh, it just... Man, the Brambles is still up, and now you have to choose, do I remove the Dryad or do I remove the 4 damage Fairy?
Can you even? In a good way. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you... Okay. All right, so he's going to go with the Blade Fiend, and that's going to use up the shadows, so Grave Desecration not getting any use early here.
And you're really incented not to attack into the Dryad, leaving it 50-50 whether the Dryad remains. Oh, wow, he just goes for it. Does not want to mess with that, and now it's a 50-50 for...
Oh! That doesn't feel good.
Uh-oh. Brambles is down, finally, after it just wrecked half on the board.
However, Wood of Brambles and Elf Song are now about to be gone. Trickster's still at 20.
Yes.
And what Envy was talking about and what we've noticed today is that if you're not being aggressive, and it's not like, you know, DFCLOVER's any far away from being aggressive, still has Leaf Man, still has a full board, things like that. But still at 20 after both of those cards being used, I feel like is a pretty good position for Trickster.
I think the big win for DFCLOVER so far is flipping the board control despite the fact that he's going second, right? He's ahead on Evolution Orbs, he's ahead on followers on board, and he's just going to have to leverage that to see if he can make this a winning situation. It is a strong position to be in.
That's true. And Trickster does have the option to Odile here to clear board. Now, here's the tricky part. If he does not use Odile this turn and Leaf Man makes an appearance soon, Odile might actually just get shut off on the biggest turn that she needs to be live for.
I wonder if Trickster is even playing around Odile.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Gold cards. So this is hard, right? In Take-Two, the cards that you don't really think about are the gold cards, right? Because those are the most random for you to get. The legendaries are a smaller pool. Gold cards are a bigger pool. Do you really play around very specific ones? It's hard. It's so hard.
This is a good turn from Trickster, and it's a question of whether he wants to spend the Evolution Orb, and he doesn't.
It's hard. When you've got one left against an opponent with 2, you've got to just turn that part of your brain off.
How many neutrals are there in hand? I don't
I think at least the Goblin King, right? So that's at least 1. The hand's so small right now.
Pita, Fairy. There's a Starry Elf. I can't tell what the 7 costs and the 4 costs are. 5 costs is a Leaf Man.
Yeah. I will probably say that Elf Twins Assault is not the card that's needed this turn.
It's Vist, yeah. So it's at the most it's 1 damage, so not huge. But like you were mentioning, all of a sudden your O-Dial is not an option, and this board is still real wide.
That's right. But here's the Grave Desecration. Finally makes an appearance into this game after being cast on turn 2 because those shadows have been getting some use.
So he's going to be able to take down one follower if he uses O-Dial.
Just one. Can't play the O-Dial this turn.
Andrialphus Evolve, always very good.
Yeah, this is as close to a constructed Shadowcraft deck as we've seen, I feel like. And one thing I want to point out that Envy actually pointed out is these Knight's Ways, like basically just card draw engines in your deck. Just having access to things that can pull you out of situations when you're done. Like you just don't have anything left to do, or you've built this advantage, or you're trying to come back and you just need something. You just need some card draw in your deck sometimes.
Everybody needs some card draw in their lives. All right, Valley trades the Andrialphus.
Leafman protection down. Ooh, and a Pitfall drawn for DFCLOVER here. Probably won't need any of that.
Yeah. The last Evolution Orb remains on the side of DFCLOVER. But again, it is a question of, in the late game, what is your big, heavy-hitting card? He has an Israfil. If he can maintain the Evolution Orb for when the Israfil comes up, I think that can be a very, very, very powerful card.
That's true.
Especially when your opponent does not have the ability to evolve, meaning it's going to be very hard, especially with a board clear for Shadowcraft, to gain a follower that has enough stats to even take down the Israfil.
I think it's very interesting that DFCLOVER is choosing to play the grind game against Shadowcraft with the Grave Desecration in play and essentially more cards in hand. Instead of just going out full aggro, he is still taking the time to clear board and make positive trades for himself. So basically, even if you build your deck to be an aggro Forestcraft deck, if you feel like you have board advantage, sometimes you just need to keep it. And I think that's an awesome game plan to watch DFCLOVER play here.
The Goblin King is interesting here. If you play the O-Dial, and you have to swing the O-Dial into the Odette, and then the zombie, even if the zombie goes to the Goblin King, it's still going to survive the board pop.
Well, O-Dial will have to run into the Goblin King, and then Odette will actually survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a board-wide 2 defense heal.
Yeah, that's huge.
If you evolve it.
Especially because we see that DFCLOVER has Ward in hand to protect also. With the Vist.
That's right.
Yeah, that's scary. Anytime that you can't kill the Odette with O-Dial, it's really sketchy. But he's going to have to make a decision here. Could go for Random Orthrus to start with.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, just going for more advantage play. He feels like he's healthy enough at 16 to go ahead and just play some advantage here.
Interesting. I feel like this is a turn where you have to be very careful. You do not want to give that Bane a efficient target, right? Every single point of removal here for Trickster is super valuable.
Yep.
Because this is the difference between, if he gets a valuable enough trade, is the difference between him barely making it out and him just losing control over the course of the next few turns.
That's right. And yeah, that Bane card, while very unassuming, very hard to deal with. And this could be any number of options this turn. This could be a Sibel plus Vist turn and just like really go board heavy. This could be an Elf Twins Assault. Okay. Similar play, but gets a 7 drop out to protect. I really like this, so maybe this will be the big push. This might even be an Evolve face. Maybe no Evolve. Saving the Evolve is also good, but I think this is going to be a big face turn.
If you were to evolve, I suppose it would go for the Fairy. I do like him keeping his board open because then the O-Dial doesn't have the free, you know.
And here we go. This is the big push. This is basically saying TRICKSTER.
I like it. You have to fight through 10 defense to get to the 6 defense, 8 damage follower here.
And as you can see, DFCLOVER put it into such a position that will end the game by itself.
The board state and providing himself late game options. If it wasn't the Mighty Dwarf, it was the Israfil, whatever it was. And I mean, making these turns so awkward for Odal as well, right? He was just holding onto this card all game long, and you're right. The one turn where he could have played it, after that, it just never arose as an opportunity.
It's not good enough.
It's such smart execution on DFCLOVER's side.
And
absolutely incredible.
That's it.
Absolutely incredible. DFCLOVER is just one click and drag away from taking first place here. The turn passes over, and here the ceremonial finish here.
That's right.
DFCLOVER taking it.
And being
the
one
made
player
it look easy.
Not to BM.
Yeah. He made it look easy.
How fresh.
DFCLOVER has chewed through so many players in this tournament. Has not lost a single match, and has done that comfortably, right? I feel like every single match we watch, he's making the right decisions, playing around the right cards. He definitely knows what crafts offer what. And, you know, that obviously comes with studying the format a lot and just knowing, okay, whenever I play against Shadowcraft, these are the pitfalls.